Let's go over to the CBN News Desk for today's top headlines.
Gordon, prison guards in Iran are threatening American pastor Saeed Abedini, deny Christ and become a Muslim, or you will never be free. George Thomas has that story.
Saeed Abedini was convicted on January 27, 2013 and condemned to 8 years in prison. Now Iranian authorities are threatening to extend that prison sentence, something his lawyers say has been done to other Christian prisoners in the past.
They find some other way to set them up for a falsehood and try them for an additional conviction.
According to Abedini's wife, Nagme, prison guards have become increasingly hostile, reportedly tormenting the 35-year-old American pastor with constant psychological threats. In a Facebook post, Nagme writes, he has been under a lot of pressure and attack from the hardliners. The guards have also been threatening Saeed that he will never go free. They continually threaten Saeed that the only key to his freedom is denying Christ and returning to Islam. Abedini is serving his sentence in one of the toughest prisons in Iran.
This is a prison that was built for 5,000 individuals, currently housing over 20,000. So you've got incredible hygienic conditions. You've got threats from other cellmates. Certainly several of them see him as a threat right now, as Iran and the United States are negotiating this nuclear deal.
Nagme says recent prisoner executions have also taken their toll on her husband. Despite the hardships, she writes that he continues to remain strong in the faith. He wants you all to know that the Lord continues to move in that prison and lives are being transformed. They had a great Easter in prison. Saeed desperately missed being with our family on Easter, but new Easter traditions were created in prison. Over the years, this journey has truly become more difficult and painful for Saeed and for the kids and I. Our family appreciates your continued prayers. George Thomas, CBN News.
Here at home, Navy chaplain Wes Motter faces losing his job because of practicing his Christian beliefs. Paul Strand talked to Motter and his wife about their trial of faith.
Wes Motter is a Navy chaplain in danger of losing his career because of his Bible-based counseling. He advised sailors from the perspective of an Assemblies of God minister. But after a few of these people at this base complained about Motter's biblical views late last year, his commander asked the Navy to consider discharging Motter just a year short of retirement.
As far as me being surprised, initially, I was shocked. It's an unintended place that I'm in.
Military chaplains aren't used to being in the public spotlight, and with the typical chaplain's work he did at this naval base in South Carolina, Wes Motter certainly never expected it.
He and some other conservative chaplains are in the crosshairs of a military that's rapidly gone from moves like tossing out homosexuals to now embracing gay marriage.
It's really about culture colliding with truth. And so I know I'm the face and the focal point, but this is really about the culture really being obedient to a holy God.
And chaplains like Motter are now having to fight for their own legal First Amendment rights, lest all military members lose them.
We need to stand up for truth and religious liberty. We have to stand for that.
His wife, Beth, says she hates to see her husband of 21 years face charges he was offensive, insulting, and judgmental to some he counseled.
It's hard to see him go through this. It's not in his character to be like these accusations say.
But she and their 4 kids back him in this battle.
I don't want to over-spiritualize this, but I really believe I'm doing the will of God by standing my ground.
He's at peace, though, with the fact his Christianity may cost him his career.
If it goes bad, as maybe the world would see it, I believe that God has a bigger plan, a bigger perspective on my life, and I'm putting my trust and my hope and my confidence in Christ Jesus.
Chaplains are often seen as the very embodiment of religion in the military. So if the Navy decides to punish one of its chaplains for his just trying to faithfully represent his religion, isn't that likely to send a chill through the heart of every service member and make them wonder whether their practicing of their faith is safe? Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from the Naval Weapons Station, Joint Base Charleston.
Republican presidential candidate Rand Paul told a pro-life audience in Washington that liberty can only be protected if we first start with protecting the basic right to life. Paul was greeted enthusiastically by supporters of the Susan B. Anthony List, an influential pro-life policy group. Paul explained how his pro-life views relate to his libertarian-leaning philosophy.
Now, some have said to me, they say, well, you're big on all this liberty stuff. Why do you want to restrict a woman's right to choose? And I said, well, you know what? The government does have some role in our lives. One of the main roles that government has is to restrict you from harming another individual, which gets us back to the original debate. When life begins, there is a role for state. So it's not that I'm against people choosing things. I'm, in fact, one of the biggest believers in choice, in liberty. But you can't have liberty if you don't protect where your liberty originates from, and that's your right to life.
Other possible presidential candidates also appeared, including Carly Fiorina and Senator Lindsey Graham. And those are today's top stories from CBN News.